Party and practice.
2025, look, PPL is here. My favorite time of year. Blood, sweat, and tears dripping all over the gear. Yeah, NFL is back, so is PPL. Let the game get started. Time to see who will prevail. Yeah, the wait is over. Yeah, it's time for fantasy. It's time to draft and build a team that's capable to win the ring. As the gap attack back to back and try to get them free. He's chilling on the throne where everybody wants to be. Yeah, we all want the money. Everybody pay the fee. For me, I'm trying to win it just to brag about my team. Everybody wants to read, but it ain't easy to achieve it. But believe it when I say it, feels so good when you receive it. Yeah, BBL is back, BBL the league is whack. You can say I'm talking smack, now I'm only speaking fact. Every week we got the live show, each year we got a nice flow. The others they can see us like they're playing with their eyes closed. PPL we ride, PPL we live, PPL we high, we the best you can't deny. Welcome to the live show, life be like the sideshow. You know and I know that PPL's a war zone, 100-yard battlefield, helmets as a battle shield. PPL we're back for real, time to draft and make a deal. Alpha versus Omega, battle with the fantasy, a game of intelligence, sacrifice and strategy.
How it has come to an end, the final week of the regular season. PPL Live, week 14. We are here for the climax of the regular season. But before we get into the end, let's go back to week 13. Starting with the Argonauts getting a huge win in their campaign towards an Alpha Conference title. 136 to squad underestimated 116. Appease the gods, puts himself way out front. The Imperial throne is in sight. 129 to only for the bosses 98. Killer Kev gets it done. They're in the playoffs. The new guys have done it. 112 to 73. The United Playas, the Destroyers, become Kingslayers overnight. Defeat the Gap Attack in the three-peat chance. 138 to 135. And the Skulls will not die. Rise from the crypt again, trying to snatch the Twins down into the depths. 98 to 90. Man, what a week in the PPL. It is still not even crystallized, man. There's still a lot of scenarios to get through. What did you think of this week, man?
I loved it. I mean, hey, we're going to have a new champ. Gaff's out of the picture, and we've got 4 teams vying for 2 spots. So, you know, there's going to be some unhappy people at the end of this week.
No, definitely.
And they ain't gonna have nobody to blame but themselves.
Oh yeah, man. And misery loves company, so misery can join it, man. Let's see what happens, man. But before we get into that, let's get into the good, the bad, and the ugly. All right, man. Let me hear your good, bad, and ugly for week 13. It was a good week for some, a bad week for others, and an ugly week for more than a couple of teams, man. Let me hear it.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Argo. You know, I mean, we're talking about a team that at one point was 3-5.
Yeah.
Has rattled off 5 in a row, going from you know the outside looking in to looking like the front runner for Alpha, like nothing's changed. After the Thursday night performance of Lamar,
right.
I bet they were, you know, feeling shaky. But squad, I mean, had several guys just not show up, and they ended up winning this one really comfortably.
Right.
In a matchup that I thought would be a lot tighter. But I mean, I said, hey, he would have to leave, no doubt. He damn near did.
Right.
Squad just didn't show up to the party.
No, definitely, man. Definitely a great week for the Argonauts. Put themselves into a tie for the Alpha Conference. If they win this week, man, the Alpha Conference title is theirs. And they did this once again in another week where they did not get any good quarterback production. So there's reasons for the Argonauts arrow to be pointed up. So that's your good, man. Let me hear your bad.
Yeah, bad has got to be only for the boss, man. Even when you because, you know, Appease the Gods, you know, put up 129, which looks formidable.
Right.
When you really break down his scoring, I mean, 30 points out of that Seattle defense who just
Right.
obliterated Minnesota.
Right.
Now, they would have won this game still if that was a 0, but it would have been very close. When I look at this, I mean, that Chiefs loss to Dallas was critical. And, I mean, Patrick Mahomes and company put up decent points.
Right.
But that -6, other guys not getting it done, and, I mean, ultimately, it puts them in a really precarious situation. I mean, they are on the bubble, and they're playing a very, I think, going to be scornful Gaff team who's going to, as you said, love some company. I think the only way to end a losing season is to take somebody down with you.
Right.
It was a bad week for the Boss, and I'm not sure it's going to get any better.
Man, that's critical, man. Yeah, the Boss at one time looked like a shoe-in for the PPL playoffs. Losers 4 of their last 5, man, so they are in a lot of trouble, man. Let me hear you ugly.
Well, and while I get there, I mean, you know, Boss was a team that at one point I thought was the best team in the Pantheon.
Right.
PPL. Same with my ugly. I'm going to give it to Patty's Twins, man. This was a matchup that, I mean, again, I thought that you know, was going to be competitive.
Right.
But the way that they lost this, the injuries, let's talk about that. First off, before we even get to injuries, a Rams win against a very beatable Carolina team,
Yeah.
and they win this matchup.
Yeah, the gods
St. Brown
conspired against the Twins, man.
Yeah, St. Brown gets a 0 because of an injury. Looks like it's not going to be long term, but concerning just as far as, is he going to be able to play this week?
Right.
I'm not so sure. Without that production, big question mark. Justin Herbert breaks his non-throwing hand. We don't know what that's going to look like.
Right.
It was just an ugly week, and the Twins, they are now firmly on the outside looking in. Don't let them lose to TREY. These guys have lost 4 or 5. They were once in a really good position. Don't let them lose to TREY on the way out. I mean, that would be something really hard for this team to swallow. But again, they are on the outside looking in, and it's because the Skulls outplayed them last week. Hard to beat anybody when you're only putting them 90, though.
No, man, definitely, man. Definitely. The Twins are a team that is on the outside looking in now. A fall from grace from what we expected from this team earlier in the season when we thought Jonathan Taylor was on an MVP mission. Justin Herbert was looking like he was rejuvenated. And obviously Amon-Ra St. Brown and mid-league neighbors were making plays. But slowly but surely it's chipped away. They're battling injuries left and right. And they're just not getting the breaks their way, man. But let's talk about it, man. Let's talk about the scenarios for the PPL playoffs. So as of right now, as you all know, the team that is in right now at the 5 seed currently is Only for the Boss. Only for the Boss has a 94% chance of making the PPL playoffs. What they need is a win. If they win, they're in. That's all they got to do. However, if they are to lose, they would need a Skulls loss or a Twins loss to still make the playoffs. Now, the Twins are at a 32% chance of making the PPL playoffs. They need to win, of course, and they need a Boss and or Skulls loss, plus a tiebreaker over the Boss. The Twins and the Boss are very close in the scoring rankings. They have the same conference record, so the Twins need basically a Skulls loss or a Boss loss, basically with the scoring breakdown. The UP, they have a 16% chance of winning. Now, that win over the Gaff attack not only ended the Gaff season, but kept the UP on life support, Ulysses. What they need in their 16% chance is a win and a Skulls and a Twins loss. So the UP probably needs the most help, and obviously the Skulls, all they need to do is win and they're in, and or they need a Twins and a UP loss if they were to lose their matchup. So pretty convoluted, a lot of different scenarios, man, but it's only going to get more and more interesting. And you know, that's not even past, that's not even prologue, that's the current, that's what we're talking about. And let's jump in and let's start with our first matchup of our final week of the season, all interconference matchups, and we start with a big one, a lot on the line in this matchup. A proud team in the PPL could miss the playoffs. Is it going to happen? We got Patty's Twins taking on I Need About TREY. All right, man, TREY doesn't look like they're interested in this season much anymore. They are on their way to the #1 pick in the 2026 draft. Obviously, Patty's Twins still have their eyes set on a chance at the PPL title. What do you think of this one, man? Twins, TREY.
Yeah, I mean, the Twins, they don't even have a quarterback in the lineup. Brock Purdy's on the bye. Justin Herbert is has had surgery, is lined up to play. But he's playing Philadelphia, and I think that's going to be a really hard matchup for the Twins to go with. Mm-hmm. You look up and down this lineup. I mean, again, I think the Twins are the better team. They should win this matchup.
Right.
But on the other side, I mean, I think TREY, we saw the Ravens struggling. I think that they come back against Pittsburgh. That team just hasn't looked very good. CLINCH Judkins, is looking like a strong player for Cleveland. They're really trying to get him involved.
Right.
But this has been a season where both of these teams, TREY FIDDY all season, but the Twins as of late have found ways to lose.
Okay.
I'm gonna say that the Twins continue that, and I think that they end on a sour note. And I think TREY FIDDY gets them. I think he goes and gets a victory at 111 to Patty's Twins 103.
All right, man, I'm going the other way here. I'm liking what the Twins is doing with Jacoby Myers. That shows that they're paying attention, really being competitive. Myers is getting targeted like a number 2 wide receiver on a team that is throwing the football. He's been a revelation in Jacksonville. I like that pickup for the Twins. Christian Watson is another guy who had a big day, kept the Twins in that matchup last week against the Skulls when Amon-Ra went out with that 0. So I don't expect her to have to contend with 2 zeros. That's going to be a huge one. And another huge thing is that the Rams, they're going to bounce back at Arizona. Believe me, they could be looking at a 20-point coach win on that side of things. And obviously Ferguson's going to get his targets. I don't know about that Chargers D, though. And I think that they'll probably find something reasonable at the quarterback position. TREY FIDDY just does not inspire much at all. It doesn't look like they're really moving their lineup around very much. I do like Marvin Harrison to probably get some garbage against the Rams, and Jacoby Brissett probably will throw for a big yardage total. But at the end of the day, I think the Twins will have too much. I don't trust that Ravens team right now against Pittsburgh. That game's a real coin flip. I got Patty's Twins getting this one and keeping their playoff hopes alive. I got the Twins getting this one 119 till I need about TREY FIDDY's 99. And moving on to our next matchup, we go into a big one for Only for the Boss. They're holding on tight, but misery loves company. We got Only for the Boss taking on the Gaff Attack. All right, man, the Gaff Attack's fall from grace was sung from the high heavens of the PPL. It was heard around the league. Obviously, they will not be able to defend the Pantheon Cup title for a third time. Only for the Boss, however, was one of the teams that helped contribute to that misery earlier in the season, beating up on the Gaff, man. Can the Gaff get us measure of revenge here? We got Boss Gaff.
Yeah, I think when you look at these guys when they played week 4, it was a great matchup. Only for the Boss winning 141 to 133.
Yeah.
So these guys have given us one already. When I look at the matchups for Only for the Boss, I think that again, Kansas City gets no favors against Houston. It is in Kansas City. This Houston defense they're playing for keeps. They humbled Josh Allen and company a few weeks ago, just beat the Colts. So, they're beating top tier talent. I don't see why that couldn't be the case here. The rest of the lineup, like I said, Deebo Samuel and that Washington offense, as long as Mariota's the quarterback, I'm not sure how productive it's going to be.
Okay.
Brown should be good. Again, Chiefs questionable. Gaff, on the other hand, like I said, I think he's going to be playing like a man on fire. He's got high scoring potentials, and this is frankly going to go down as one of those seasons that this is one of the best teams to have a losing season that we're going to see. When you look back at this team,
right,
their scoring potential is one of the tops. It's just people come for the Gaff. I think that the Gaff, though, again, is going to love making it miserable for Only for the Boss. He's in the best position as of right now, and I think that Gaff puts him on the ropes. I've got Gaff in a leave no doubt performance.
Okay.
I think that the Gaff goes 136 to Only for the Boss's 112.
All right, man, I'm with you. The Gaff, what they've mastered this year is winning games that are of little consequence. We saw how they smashed on TREY FIDDY last week. They did pretty well against the Alpha Conference this year. I think that they closed out pretty strong. Only for the Boss, they could still lose this matchup and still make the playoffs, so it's not completely doom and gloom, but they control their own destiny, and I think that's they're gonna lose control of their destiny because I think the Gaff gets this one. I just like the Gaff's matchups more. The projections sing it out. This is a team that was capable of three-peating based on the roster that they had. It just decision making at certain times, bad matchups at other times. the other team coming to play other times. I mean, as it all came together, and it just didn't work out for the Gav. But I think it works out for him this week. Like Bucky Irving getting back into that lineup. Now, had they played Bucky Irving last week, they win. I thought that was a guy that they needed to get in there. Good to see him back in that lineup this week. That Broncos D looked a little shaky, but I expect him to bounce back against Las Vegas. They're confident enough. They don't even need a coach. They figure, hey, why not? Why give somebody that Patriots HC? And I think that he's going to roll regardless. The Chiefs have a really tough matchup in Houston, but it is a must-win, and it is in Arrowhead, so I wouldn't count the Chiefs out in this one. But I think the Gaff has got a little bit of revenge on his mind, and he can take out his frustrations from the league on only for the boss, and I think he does it. I got the Gaff attack getting this matchup 131 to only for the boss is 115. And moving on to our next matchup, we go into a game that is of the least consequence of the weekend. Not really much time needs to be spent on this one, but it should be a fun one, man. We got Killer Kev taking on Appease the Gods. All right, man, this could be a playoff preview because both of these teams have locked up playoff positioning. Killer Kev pretty much can't rise above his station, and Appease the Gods can't fall from his, man. What do you think of this one?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I don't think it's going to be of much consequence. I think both teams are going to be positioning for the postseason, as they both have Patriots that I'm sure they're not going to be replacing.
Right.
I don't really think that they move or try much beyond what we see here, but I think Killer Kev's got the higher ceiling and his core is better. I've actually got him in a lock of the week performance. I think he does this one handedly. I think he goes 125 to Appease the Gods 93.
Okay. I'm with you on this one, but I think Appease the Gods could put up a fight in this one. I can see Nico Collins really abusing that Kansas City secondary. Their secondary did not look like they could handle George Pickens. Nico Collins is along that line. Terry McLaurin, man, I know that. Man, I liked what I saw from Mariota on that Sunday night game. He was willing and dealing, and he kept the Commanders in that ball game against a very tough Denver defense. So I think that McLaren's got something in itself also. Don't want to take too much more time on this matchup, but at the end of the day, I'm with you. Smith and Jigba, Achane and Jacobs is a core of cores. Williams not having Amon-Ra St. Brown and still targets is going to be another big one. I got Killer Kev getting this one 120 to Appease the Gods 110. And moving on to our next matchup, we go into a big one for the Argonauts. They can clinch yet another Alpha Conference title with this win, but the United Playas are playing for their season as well. We got the United Playas, the Destroyers, taking on the Argonauts. All right, man, these two teams played earlier this season. A victory for the United Playas, the Destroyers. This is a rematch of two Pantheon Cups, with Pantheon Cup 5 and 11. These two teams are very, very familiar with each other. What do you think of this one, Argonauts, United Playas?
Yeah, and I mean, when these guys played earlier in the season, it was a 5-point matchup. UP got the win. What you mentioned, though, is there is history with these franchises, and the UP might get the Argos during the season, but when the games have mattered, the Argos deliver, and I think that that's what really happens this week. And I think that this is honestly the most entertaining matchup of the week. I'm expecting this game to be very tight.
Okay.
I mean, again, Argonauts are going to Joe Burrow. I mean, now off of IR, he looked real last week, so he's going there. Bijan Robinson showed you exactly why he was the cornerstone of that trade, though. Right. I think he was more the focal point of that trade than Lamar.
Absolutely.
Justin Jefferson is going to be hamstrung by whoever is quarterback for Minnesota right now. That's probably the biggest deficit. Egbuka's been a little bit absent from the lineup, but I think does make a reappearance. And the X factor here is how is that hand, and does it impact getting the ball to Ladd McConkey? Right. The Buccaneers coach at New Orleans, I think this is a solid lineup. Other side, Daniel Jones and company in Indy, I think that this Jacksonville game has trap written all over it. Okay. These guys just lost in a team that can play defense. I think the Jacksonville offense can go toe-to-toe with these guys, especially at home. I think that what we've seen is that George Pickens and with Rashee Rice and his role in that Kansas City offense, if they're to accelerate against Houston, who has a really tough defense, I think that Rashee's going to have a game. Zach Ertz, though, this guy,
he ended the gap season, man.
He did end the gas season, but let me tell you, anybody that was watching that game, Zach Ertz left a lot of points on that field.
Okay.
And Brian Flores is gonna be scheming for these guys. He may have looked good last week, but again, going against this defense, that's the only thing that they got. I expect that one to be low scoring.
Okay.
Rams against the Cardinals. I mean, hey, who knows what's going to happen after we saw what Carolina did in the divisional game? All bets are off, and the Bills can lose to Cincinnati. I'm just going to say that.
Okay.
And so this, like I said, is one of the more entertaining matchups. I like the Argonauts in the matchups that they have. I think that they get revenge when it matters, and put the end to the UP season. I've got them winning again. The most entertaining matchup. I'm going to go 128 to the United Players 126.
All right, man. Oh, man, this is a really, really tight matchup. And I think I'm going to lean your way, man. I see what you mean with that Cincinnati Bills matchup. Now, it could get very, very interesting because it is in Buffalo. It's going to be interesting to see how the weather plays out. And it's going to be interesting to see if Kyron Williams is able to go. But Bijan Robinson looked amazing. He gets Seattle coming back east, so that does kind of help him in his favor. It's going to be interesting to see. I mean, for as bad as J.J. McCarthy's been, Max Bosmer was the bottom of the barrel. So he gets an upgraded quarterback, getting J.J. McCarthy back. But I like what the United players are cooking with Derrick Henry, George Pickens, and Rashee Rice, man. I think that all three of those guys have the potential to take over the matchup. And the Argonauts guys, but aside from maybe Trey McBride and Bijan Robinson, don't have that same potential. But at the end of the day, I think the Argonauts have a little bit better of a core, and I think that they find a way to get this one and win the Alpha Conference title again. I got the Argonauts winning this matchup 128 to the United Players 117. And moving on to our prestige matchup of the week. A huge one here. Huge consequences for both teams. Both of these teams are in a must-win situation. You got Squad Underestimated taking on the Skulls. All right, man, one would ask, why am I saying Squad Underestimated is in a must-win situation? Because the Argonauts have a very tough matchup, obviously, as we just talked about, against the United Players. If the Argonauts were to slip and Squad was to win, Squad gets the number 1 or number 2 seed and goes into the playoffs with the bye week. Obviously, the Skulls are on a ventilator, but control the 6th seed as of now. So if they win, they get the 6th seed or in the playoffs. Man, what do you think of this one?
Yeah, I mean, Gino, if I were to tell you that if these teams had played 13 times this season, I mean, what do you think the record would be?
Squad 13, Squad 13-1.
Well, I mean, close. I mean, 11-2. So you know, the Squad Underestimated has shown repeatedly that they could put up top-notch scoring. In week 2, when these guys played, they put up 160 and beat these guys by about 70 points.
Okay.
Now, what we're looking at is a Skulls team who, again, on life support, won a close matchup. Let's not call it more than it was. It wasn't pretty,
right,
but it was enough to put him in the driver's seat. What I do like about them is I think that Josh Allen, I mean, if the Cincinnati game, I think that could actually turn into a more entertaining game, a back and forth kind of matchup,
right,
and that favors Josh Allen in his game. Chase Brown, Jamar Chase, all these guys increases as far as what that looks like, and I think could be a big part of that scoring matchup.
Okay.
Michael Pittman also, I think, again, has shown that he's got scoring potential against Jacksonville. What I don't like is the Chargers coach. I think against Philadelphia, go with it, but I think that there's better options out there as of right now. When I look at Squad Underestimated, you know, hey, he's going with some guys on Thursday night. He's not being intimidated.
Right.
I think he really was staring at what Dak did last Thursday.
Right.
All day Friday, all day Saturday, and then when he didn't get what he needed on Sunday, he was feeling that. I could tell you, knowing this owner.
Right.
So he's not going to mess around. He's going to try to get that. We'll see what that looks like. Dak is better at home, but it's a dome, so we'll see. Saquon has been missing in action. Last week he did not fare well. Nakua should have a good game. Troy Franklin is the clear number 1 in Denver. Brock Bowers can't be stopped. Alvin Kamara here's kind of an X-factor player, but what I'm hearing is he's trending towards not playing this week.
Okay.
And And so I think that impacts squad. But overall, I just see squad having a lot more consistent scoring power. Now, I mean, he doesn't have Christian McCaffrey, and that takes off a lot of shine for me.
Right.
But I still think that ultimately this comes down to, well, this is going to be one of those matchups where they both play a good game, but I think squad coach wins and Skulls coach loses, and that spread is the kind of difference in this game.
Okay.
I've got squad going 115 to the Skulls 109.
All right, man. All right, I'm going the other way. Now, when you mentioned that 11-2 record for squad underestimated, how many of those matchups did squad have Christian McCaffrey?
Most.
All. So he's not going to have him this week against the Skulls, and that's going to be the telling part. What the Skulls is going to have? The Skulls are going to have Josh Allen. The Skulls are going to get Jamar Chase back after his suspension. They're going to have Chase Brown. Now, what does Jamar Chase get back? He gets Joe Burrow throwing him the football again. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see how this matchup goes. I really like Michael Pittman in the flex spot. I like the Brenton Strange pickup. I think the Jaguars are going to be turning it up. If those games get high scoring, let's say Jacksonville and the Colts gets high scoring, which we would expect, and let's say Buffalo and Cincinnati gets high scoring, the Skulls could run away from squad underestimated. Without McCaffrey in the lineup and Puka Nacua ceding territory to Devontae Adams in that offense, I got the Skulls finding a way to get into the Pantheon Prestige playoffs and making some noise perhaps. I got the Skulls getting in with these two big guys like Allen and Chase behind a big-time effort this week. 129 to squad underestimated 124. Alrighty, PPLers, thanks for another great week of PPL Live. The next time you hear from us, it will be Wild Card Weekend. It'll be time to go for the postseason. We'll recap the regular season and get you guys ready for the road to Pantheon Cup 17. You guys have a good weekend, good luck, and may the odds be ever in your favor.